Alright guys, how you doing? Today we're going to be doing my NFC South predictions, and this is the second or the third to last prediction I have. After this I have the NFC East and the NFC West, which will be coming out tomorrow and Thursday, and I'm just going to basically be doing these really quick, and then after this, Friday I will have my playoff teams, and then I will have a sleeper teams video, and then from there I think we'll be done with predictions for the year. Hopefully that I can start working on some Madden content soon for everyone, and this will be pretty good. Anyways, diving right into the Buccaneers rankings, I have the Buccaneers, or the NFC South, I have the Buccaneers winning this division again. I think that even though they didn't really get weaker, they lost Rob Gronkowski and then a couple like offensive linemen. I think overall this is going to be better. That they're going to be a better team. Or the best team in the NFC South. So starting off, if you look, I have them going 12-5, which I think is a fairly realistic record. And let's take a look at what we have. So I have them starting off with a win in week 1. Oh, and just before we keep going, to clarify, the division splits I have through the home games and all that. You can check my other videos for predictions or for rules if you need. Everything's explained there. Anyways, starting off, I have them beating the Cowboys, beating the Packers, beating the Chiefs, beating the Steelers, and then I have them squeaking out a win against the Ravens, but I think they might actually be able to win this game. I'm not entirely confident in the Buccaneers defense against Lamar Jackson, but I think that if Lamar Jackson plays well, it could be a win for the Buccaneers, or for the Ravens. If not, it could be a win for the Buccaneers. Then I have them losing against the Rams, beating the Seahawks, beating the Browns, beating the 49ers, and then I have them losing against the Bengals. I think that this will be a very, very, very good possibility that they'll lose against the Bengals. And then I have them beating the Cardinals and then finishing off these last two games. Looking at games where I think the Buccaneers could struggle, I think the Saints and Panthers will give them struggles, especially because the Panthers now have Baker Mayfield. I think the Rams will give them struggles. I think the Packers and the Chiefs will give them struggles. The Bengals, and from there, I really don't know. The Ravens, maybe? But let's say that they lose. Let's say that they get swept. Okay, so even if we're looking at all this, I think that puts them at 8-9, which is super unlikely. Uh, so yeah, I think that more than likely they'll go 11-6 or 12-5. And yeah, I think that this team could be very good this year, and I have them leading the NFC South. Moving on to second place, I have the New Orleans Saints, who I think are also an underrated team. Famous Jameis played really, really well last year, I think, and I was very, very happy with how he played. The defense was really, really well. And overall, I think that it's going to be pretty good for this team. Looking at the games that I have them winning that are non-divisional, I have them beating the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Bengals to start off, then the Cardinals, then squeaking out a win against the Ravens, or the Raiders, losing to the Raiders, beating the Steelers, losing to the Rams, beating the Niners, beating the Browns, and the Eagles. Now, realistically, I'm not entirely sure that they'll beat all of these teams, especially if there's injury, but I think that their receiving core with Michael Thomas and Chris Olave now, and Traquan Smith, and Troutman, and Alvin Kamara, who doesn't look like he's going to be suspended, I think this could be a very, very likely scenario for them. The games where I'm not 100% confident in are the Raiders, because I like Devontae Adams against Marshawn Lattimore. I like the Bengals because I like Jamar Chase against Marshawn Lattimore. The 49ers, it depends on how Trey Lance plays. And honestly, the Steelers. I think the Steelers, while not having a 100% guaranteed win against the Saints, I think they could give them troubles. Looking at the Eagles as well, I think that because of last year, the Eagles did end up giving the Saints trouble. I think that the Eagles could also win this game, but I'm gonna give it a slight edge to the Saints. So, do I think that the Saints will go 12-5? No, but more than likely, I think that the Saints will be a 10 to 11 win team. I just am not entirely sure which game that the Saints will drop and which game the Saints will keep. So I'm just gonna keep it as is for right now. But that in mind, I do think that the Saints will be an 11 or a 10 to 11 win team. Moving on to third place in the NFC South, I have the Carolina Panthers. Now I have the Carolina Panthers going 10-7, but when I had Sam Darnold being the quarterback, it was a way different prediction looking. It looked way different. I think that the Panthers have an opportunity to be a wild card team this year and be very, very, very good. I think that people are going to be shocked by them this year. I have high hopes for Baker, but I still think that he's not the answer for the Panthers. But who knows? Maybe he'll stick in Carolina, which I would like. Started looking at their games. I have them beating the Browns in week 1, beating the Giants in week 2. You have them beating the Cardinals in week 3, but I think that, or week 4, but I think that they could likely lose this game. I have them beating the 49ers, but again, I think this is another game they could likely lose. Then they'll lose to the Rams, the Bengals, the Ravens. For right now, I have them beating the Broncos, but I'm not entirely sure in this. Actually, I don't think that this is going to be a win for them, so I will actually have them lose this game. I have them beating the Seahawks, losing to the Steelers, beating the Lions, and then yeah, I think that 9-8 is a very likely scenario for this team, or 8-9. I don't know if they'll beat the. I had one that I don't know if they'll beat the Cardinals or the 49ers, but the 49ers game purely depends on Trey Lance. I just personally like Baker Mayfield more than I like Trey Lance. And if I'm being honest, I like the receiving core of the Panthers a little bit more than I like the receiving core of the 49ers, purely on the wide receiver standpoint. I love DJ Moore. I think he is better than Brandon Ayuk. I think that Brandon Ayuk is going to be playing a very different role this year than he did last year. And I don't know. I think that it's going to be a little bit different this year for people. But I have the Panthers beating the 49ers. The 49ers defense is better, so at the end of the day, it just comes down to Baker. But I think the Panthers could win this game. In week 4, I have them beating the Cardinals because I don't really like the Cardinals defense. And I think that it's going to be a shootout with the Panthers coming out in the end. Will it happen that way? I very seriously doubt it. But I tried. And finally, probably the easiest team to talk about. In last place, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I think that the Atlanta Falcons are one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. I do not have high hopes for Marcus Mariota. I love the dude to death. Loved him coming out of Oregon. He was a very good quarterback to watch. Very, very entertaining. Whooped as a Titan for a couple of years and then was bad. He was very good to watch in his run, but I don't, watching some of his throws, I don't see it. Desmond Ridder doesn't look like he's ready, so I'm not entirely confident in Desmond Ridder either, sadly, but I am not sure. So, looking, other than the divisional games, I have losing to the Rams, losing to the Seahawks, losing to the Browns, losing to the 49ers, the Bengals, the Chargers, losing to the Bears, the Commanders, the Steelers, losing to the Ravens, and the Cardinals. Pretty much every game that's not a divisional game, I have them losing. Now, do I think that this is entirely realistic? No, but I think that they could likely beat the Commanders. I very seriously doubt it, because they just have nobody on their roster other than Kyle Pitts that I believe in. The Steelers will probably play down to them, and then I will be embarrassed when the Steelers lose. They could beat the Seahawks, but I think DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are too good for AJ Terrell to win by himself. 49ers, again, I just don't have any confidence in this team. This team has one of the worst rosters in the league. I think it is an awful, awful, awful roster. I think while they might be competitive in some of these games, I don't see games where they will win. Maybe against the Bears, maybe against the Commanders. I don't know. But yeah, so looking back at my rankings for the rosters, I have for the NFC South, I have the Buccaneers going 12-5, which I think is fairly likely. In first place, I have the Saints in second place going 12-5, but I think they're more realistically a 11-win or 10-win team. I have the Panthers going 9-8 in third place, and then I have the Falcons going 3-14 in last place. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and that's pretty much all I got. Thanks, guys.